A very good day, friends. Myself, Mr.Deepak Singh from allpoetry.com, Academy of Arts, Aartiii, the Jyoti as a tag name. I think so far now onwards, you all are now very well enjoying all the poems over there. Today also I will be speaking about one of a unique poetry today I have written, my friend. But before going through the poetry, today I will speak something about myself, Mr. Deepak Singh, my friend. My discourse so far, and I will start my today's session with a very nice quote, once very well said by a great scientist and a doctor even, by Emil Kraepelin. He was the first German proponent as a scientist who did a great research work on a very unique disorder of a mental disease that was bipolar disorder or manic depressive illness. What could be better said that he was the father to bring out, he was a psychiatrist even, and he was the father to bring enunciated the methods or the cause of manic depressive illness or bipolar disorder. He once very well said, I quote, "What goal could be more sacred than that of caring for humanity in distress, especially when the affliction stems from their very innate humanism, and when it cannot be halted by reason, rank, or riches." Quote close. So uniquely as it is said by the great psychiatrist or the scientist, Sir Emil Kraepelin, as he says very well that what goal could be the more sacred that had the caring of humanity in distress? What best or what wonder cause would have been of any process or any work to bring on the proponents, to bring on a promotion for the person or the part of the society or the section of a society who are in a distress in the form of disease, especially in a mental disease? What rank or riches or any good reason come to counter of that? They all unwaked of that. So that was the quote from Sir Emil Kraepelin. My friend, as so far you have also come across that I'm speaking about poetry. I am writing poetry, and this is good that I am speaking poetry, writing poetry very well. And even I am writing poetry with a very unique subject, that is neuroscience. A poet who is a thinker, who thinks in a very abstract form, brings out all his virtues of writing and thinking or his arts with the nature. But what about neuroscience? Why this type of I myself trying to put that much of emphasis in the neuroscience? There must have been some reason. My friend, the duality between an actor and a director is very symbiotic. The duality between a singer and a music director is very symbiotic. A duality between an author with his writing and his reader is very symbiotic. Likewise, an art of poet is always symbiotic to a psychiatrist, because the extent of thinking of a poet goes or takes so beyond fence of an issue that a psychiatrist needs to fence it out. But even the art intricacy and the aesthetics of that poetry comes out to be so much of a beauty that brings a wonder, a sense first to a psychiatrist. So, what could be better said that a poet and psychiatrist are also symbiotic. It is very much important to promote on a subject or a track on which a sector of a society is too vulnerable. Keeping these all things in mind, my friend, first of all, the mental disease, the bipolar disorder, manic depressive illness. I have lost many of my good relatives. I have lost many of my good friends. My bosom friends I have lost. But it needs some way and something has to be done to promote the effect in such a way by the terms of neuroscience in the realm of poetry with the blend of numerous subjects, such that at least a fraction of sky work or the fraction of mind sky work could enable a promotion to those, or to be dedicated to be those that next time they must not succumb. The objective here to write poetry in that sense, in the terms of neuroscience, is that the synchronization or the circumstances must not relate out to that factors. Obviously, the perceptual log or the social stigma, to that an extent that there are many scientists, there are many lists of many great artists, there are lists of many great musicians, there are lists of many great scholars who have succumbed. Van Gogh is, today we fetch his works, today we fetch, or today we get his paintings. What a price! No price. A price that cannot be make it out of. It's so costly. My friend, have you ever imagined the life of Sir Van Gogh? How he led? Have you ever gone through the life history of Sir Van Gogh? My friend, on how much distress he has led his life? These are the objectives. These are the mission to bring on the act of poetry in the terms of neuroscience. The motto behind writing this way in this way is only that at least people must not succumb to that much extent out of this possibility. We all have come here to live and love each other. We are all here come here to, obviously, the percentage of empath maybe has got a variation, but to share and love and care to each other. So, keeping all those things in mind, my friend, first of all, since a poetic bent and a poetic extent is always got a link with a psychiatrist, so you have already guessed it out. The fact that how and why I am writing this poetry, to make out a meaning of that, to bring on a possible effect to those mental patients so that they could get the herb of words and nurture among themselves. They should nurture or bring on the nurturing effect in themselves so that they could revive again by their own self. May would have been they got distracted, may would have been got distressed by the social stigma, but they can fight back again. It is a mission. It is a mission in that way to bring it out. The objective here is exactly the same. Keeping all this thing in view, first of all, I go to my office. My friend, I am from a very common stage in my office. It is good. I maintain a very common stage in my office. But these all objective, these all things that comes in my mind when I see and have felt or experienced my friends, my beloved relatives going on, succumbing on out of this illness, that turned down. It gave me a motto and reason to write, so that at least I could bring in a fraction, a quotient of sky work or the sky mind work that could reach to them, and they would revive themselves to live again in a very good way. Keeping all those things in mind, my friend, I studied and did my graduation from university, Open University, Indira Gandhi Open University. It's an open, obviously open. Open 2 has got a value because it has got a enormous volume, as well as who interact it with has got a weights because it has got an enormous mass. So the volume is interacted with the mass. Obviously there is an equilibrium between them. So in the very first instance, to know in very distinguished form, I studied psychology and did graduation from there. And after that, I went to Center of Excellence, that is from United Kingdom. I did my diploma from there. I did my diploma with distinction from transpersonal, with the diploma in transpersonal psychology, diploma in child psychology, diploma in social psychology, and then, my friend, I did diploma in criminal psychology. To bring on these all effects to that much extent, so that I could enable my mission to those persons who may not be that much proficient to help himself to get a link to the part of the society, or they get stigmatized. To help those persons, those who are every day encountered by the social stigma. So that was all the way. Then I have done also some uh, coach institution from a definite institution. And as I went on professing this all act of in terms of mission. So that was something about myself, as I said. But though I do work in Indian Railway now at present, and I have got a common stature, very not in a very topmost stature, but a very common stature over there. But my way of bringing on the motives to those persons who are weak by its mental abilities. There are many people, my friend, who are mentally retarded in the sense. They cannot cope up. Their domain cannot cope up to themselves, to them. They have dissolved themselves in such a way that it is very difficult. I can make it out. And this is the mission of my writing of poetry. Today, my friend, I will be discussing a very unique poetry. Today I have only written. I will just discuss the first 4 lines of that. The units of subjectivity, abstract algorithm, congregation in mind. Now, my friend, what is units of subjectivity? Very unique sentence or word, three words, phrase it is, my friend. Units of subjectivity. Can you make it out? Exactly. Units of subjectivity is the consciousness. It is the consciousness that we deliver, or it is the consciousness that we inculcate in our own self, my friend. So that is the units of subjectivity that brings an abstract algorithm. That means that brings a phenomena of mathematical induction acting on through algorithm of all the abstractism acting over there with a congregation in mind. That means all the integration and compound of components in the mind. That was the topic of the poetry. Units of subjectivity, abstract algorithm, congregation of mind. The first line is made to discussed on like that way, my friend. The methods of the methodology out by the research course, the arbitration coordinates. We are continuously under the frequency of research on ourselves. That is our units of processing unit. We know this laptop is working on processor. Likewise, my friend, there is a unit processor. That is the frequency of research methodology that continuously taking place in our mind. Continuously it is taking place. And on that it is binding by the arbitration coordinates. Continuously it is making on with the coordinates, with the arbitration weave. We look around here and there, we look around, we can make it out. This is geoid in shape. This is round in shape. This is spherical in shape. This is square. So these all fetching of nodes are the terms of algorithm, abstract algorithm that binds through our neurons to give a configuration in the mind out of the frequency of our research. Onto the genetic programming, the abstract with algorithm, the quantum fits. And this genetic programming, the programming that is going on continuously out of the research frequency or the frequency of the research that enables the process in our mind that gives out the generating or that is generating the programming form. Continuously there is a programming in the mind going on. We can make it out. We can make it out. We see any video of 3-dimension video. It is created, no friend. It is created, no? How that is created? That we can make it out. But how? Because the same thing is happening inside our mind too. Out of that virtue it has come into effect. Otherwise, how would have been known? Otherwise, how would have been will has been discovered if circle has not been known? If otherwise, how a corner or angles would have been come into existence if the corners would have been not known? So on to the genetic programming, the abstract with algorithm, the quantum fits. And what are the quantum fits, my friend? The quantum fits are the crafts, the grains of the neurotransmitter, the quantum form that dangles, that plays, that workouts in the synaptic cleft, the gap in the synaptic cleft. Continuously, this is a very microscopic, too microscopic to get a sense of. But if we can or become accustomed always too much of so vast of a space theory of astrophysicists of the Big Bang and all those things, and make it aware of ourselves that such and things is happening over in our universe, I should not. We take care even to that part of our brain also. And by that objective, the mission has to be made on that we should everyone live with love and happiness. And in the fourth line, as it is said, my friend, out to the cohesive, the terms and constitution of trajectory clades. And all the constitution, all the acts comes in the binded and with the rules of the terms and abided by the terms to act on. With the fourth line, as it is said, my friend, sign are the literature, the codes and terminology, the absolute means. And then the literature that becomes glorious, glory. There are showers of blessings over there on that literature when it takes in that form. The showers of blessing of feeling a very happiness. It's out to be that kind of terminology over there to bring a very modulus form or an absolute meets over there. So this was the first 4 lines of the poetry, units of subjectivity, that is the consciousness, units of subjectivity in the form of consciousness with an abstract algorithm and configuration of mind. I hope you will enjoy this poetry also. Myself, Mr. Deepak Singh, from allpoetry.com, Academy of Arts, Aartiii the Jyoti. Please go through, just Google it there and get it and make out it and enjoy the poetry. And my friend, be strong with your way. First, make yourself, your own domain so strong that you become a rock. Thank you, my friend.